So now I'm just going to expand on the things that we discussed in the previous lecture. And in the previous lecture, you were introduced to tensors and what they are and how they compare with Numpy. And now in this lecture, we are just going to look at what Numpy arrays are and what torch tensors are and how they link with each other. So this is a very brief lecture to get you comfortable with tensors. So you can import Numpy as NP and import torch. So now we are going to create an array. This is a 3x3 array. I created a variable array and I've created a 3x3 array, and I've passed my variable array into the function np array, and that's stored in the variable first array. And as you can see, this is of the class numpy nd array, and this is the shape. So sorry, it's a 2x3 array, so 2 rows and 3 columns. And we can even convert this numpy array, this class numpy nd array, to a Pytorch tensor. So we create a variable tensor, we call the function torch dot capital tensor, and we pass in array. And as you can see, this is a tensor object, and it has the torch size, or well, it has a size 2x3, and basically what we created over here in the variable array has now been converted to a tensor by using the function torch dot tensor. We can even create a ones matrix in both numpy and torch. So in numpy we do np.ones, a 3x3 matrix of ones with numpy, and we can do the same with Pytorch by saying torch.ones 3x3. So in the first case we get a numpy array 3x3 populated with ones, and here we get a tensor 3x3 populated with ones. So random numbers, again we can do the same thing, np.random.rand 3x3, and this will give me something, a 3x3 numpy matrix like so. And torch.rand 3, this is going to give me a 3x3 tensor like this. So basically, okay, these numbers are different because the function rand, it brings up different values every time, but essentially this is how we can create an array of random numbers and a tensor of random numbers. We can even carry out to and fro conversions. So we create an array np.random.rand, and you can see this is an array of the class numpy.nd array. We can convert this from numpy. So we have the variable array, we can convert it from numpy to tensor. So we just say torch, we call the function torch from numpy, and we pass in this variable array which contains numpy.nd array, and that's how we get this particular tensor 3x3. We can even convert back from tensor to numpy, and for that we create a variable tensor from numpy to tensor. So we call the inbuilt function, and then we just say tensor dot comma numpy, and then we get this variable, this numpy.nd array 3x3, and that has been converted from a tensor to numpy. So that's what it's doing, tensor to numpy. And essentially they look pretty similar, and they obviously perform very similar functions, but with tensors we can latch on to the GPUs if we want to. But basically this is how numpy arrays and tensors tie in with each other.